All right, once again, good morning to all of our media and our coaches on the call. We will begin our media session here today. We're happy to be joined by Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, obviously a bye for your team this past week as you prepare for Alabama State in the Magic City Classic. If you could please start us out with an opening statement, just kind of recapping your bye and previewing your matchup with the Hornets.
Yeah, the bye week, well needed. Got a lot of bumps and bruises, which everybody do at this time of the year. So it was a welcome sight to see the open date to try to get those guys in the training room and get them back healthy, get some days off, and then just get back to the basics and of tackling and execution, doing the little things, a lot of individual, and then a little bit of self-scouting and see where we are, the good things, bad things, and try to correct the bad things and try to add on to the good things. So a good week, a good off week, and now we got to get ready for the Classic. And Dr. Hill-Eley and them Hornets, man, we got to go down there. It's always a tough game. You can throw the records out. It's always going to be a battle. It's going to be a 60-minute game. Probably the team with the ball last going to have a chance to win the game. It's been that way since I've been here in this rivalry. 1 year with 3 overtimes. So we expect another barn burner. It's going to be a heck of a game, and I know he'll have his guys ready, and we'll be ready.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll know for questions for Coach Maynor. Our first question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Maynor, good morning.
Good morning, Doc. How you doing?
It's Magic City Classic week. It's time to get down.
It's time.
You broke it down. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A lot of good information. Also, you going up against a colleague of yours, one that I believe that you call a friend. Talk about how that may be challenging or how that makes this even more special.
Well, we both understand our profession that on game day for that 3 hours, we got a job to do. And win, lose, or draw, we're going to still be good friends, and we'll still talk every week. But for that 3 hours, he know that I'll chop his head off if I can.
Well, let's get into the action here with one follow-up question about from a defensive schematic. Often know what you want to do offensively. As you said, you do what the defense allows you to do. But defensively, how are you approaching this matchup?
Oh, he been playing 2 quarterbacks. I don't know if he's gonna get his quarterback back. He probably will with the open week, and he'll probably have time to get him back. But he got a lot of quality reps for his backup, and he's not doing a bad job. So he got two capable guys that he could play. So our game plan won't change because both of them are kind of similar. Both of them are tall, can sling it around. So our defensive plan will be the same no matter which one of those guys play. But I think his starter will probably be back. So we'll be ready for either one. And we just got to eliminate the big plays, and we got to be able to stop Gray, man. We got to be able to stop Gray. We can't let him take over the game. So we got to stop that running game and force them to throw the ball.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Currently taking questions for Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Once again, if you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Currently taking questions for Coach Maynor. Next question goes to Mo Carter.
Hey, good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Mo. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. First and foremost, how was the bye week, and how did that transition into what you guys are coming up with the Magic City Classic, which by far biggest game of the year for a lot of alums, but biggest game to you and your staff because it's the next game?
Correct. I told the players that yesterday. This is the biggest game of the season for us because it's the next football game. And for our fans and alumni, it's because it's the Magic City Classic. This is the game that they circle on their calendar. This game and homecoming, when they get the schedule. They're not like coaches and players. We want to win every game. They want us to win this game. And no matter what we do with the rest of them, they want us to win this game. So this is a huge game for our community, our university, our alumni, our fans, and same thing for ASU. It's a big game for their alumni and their fans also. And so we understand that. And so what we did is we got to try to take care of us. We got to try to get back healthy, And then we got to do little things. We got to play better. We got to take care of the ball. We got to do a better job on our run fits and the running game and getting off the field and quit giving up long passes. So we got a lot of work to do that we've been working on, and we got to look right in the mirror and take care of A&M.
Okay, and my other question would be, of course, things are starting to get back to normal somewhat. So unlike how things were in the spring, you're probably going to be dealing with a larger crowd on Saturday. What do you think about what that atmosphere could be like for this upcoming game compared to how things were back in the spring when we were dealing with larger issues of COVID?
Yeah, it's always nice to have a nice big crowd, full stadium, 65, 70,000, probably 20,000 outside. I think the weather's supposed to be in the 70s. So, I think everybody will come out and really enjoy the Magic City Classic and the football game. When they got good weather, they normally show up. So I'm thinking at least 60,000 and probably another 20, 30,000 outside the stadium. And that'd be great for both schools and the Classic. But, we got to worry about those Hornets. We got to get prepared, and we got to do our job on the football field. We can't worry about all the hoopla. It'll be nice to come into the stadium and see a packed house and have your fans behind you making noise on third down, things of that nature. But after that, we'd be focused on the game. Once that ball kicks off, I don't know if it's 100,000 or 2,000.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
I'm going to be staring at Ely the whole time. I ain't going to be looking at no stands.
Currently taking.
I'm going to follow him. He walked down to the 30. I'm going to walk down to the 30.
Currently taking questions for Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Any final questions for Coach?
He drink water. I'm going to drink water. I see him. I'm going to drink me some water.
Coach Maynor, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Man, go back to the small picture, man. You ain't the goodest. You ain't the best looking on the eye.
Hey man, just trying to make sure you can see the entire picture, 3D.
Happy to be joined by Alabama State head coach Donald Hill-Eley. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody?
Doing great, Coach. As always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, obviously a bye week for your team as you prepare to face the Bulldogs in the Magic City Classic. If you could start us out just recapping your week off and previewing your matchup with the Bulldogs.
Well, mainly for us is just, reps and recovery. We had a lot of guys that, had bumps and bruises, a little banged up. So wanted to double up on treatment time and still got to get your reps in practice, to get some things, under control. And then in the midst of all that, you got to get them a little bit of rest. As we said, this is the middle half of the season, which, as you look at it from the spring into now, we've played a total of 12 football games. So, mentally trying to get those guys through this wall of playing that second half of the season. So, been doing a lot of little things, of team building, just trying to get them motivated to get through this second half. I mean, I think, the spring definitely was beneficial to us overall with the development, but as the mental standpoint, you got a lot of guys, you look at their face, they're a little tired of playing some football, but this is what they do. They enjoy to do it. So you got to find a way to get them through. This is that hump part of the season. So that's what we've been doing, all last week and moving on until this week, getting ready for Magic City Classic.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll now open up the floor for questions for Coach Hill-Eley. If you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Currently taking questions for Coach Hill-Eley. Coach, obviously this edition of the Classic will be different from last season where you had obviously a lot of COVID restrictions. I know Coach Maynor spoke about, the excitement of having, packed stadium, 60,000 in there and 20,000 outside. But Obviously, when the game gets started, you guys will be focused on the game. But just what does that mean, obviously, just to get back to, big time college football as far as with the attendance in the conference?
Well, you know what? We still had the game in the spring, and, none of the bands could attend. And, it was still always a good event, but the ambiance that goes with Magic City Classic wasn't there, from the tailgating to the bands and concerts and all those things. So to get back to some normalcy, it helps us, but more importantly, it helps that Classic, because they still gave us a first class event without all the ticket sales and everything else that was around it. So it gives them an opportunity to get a shot back in the arm from providing us a great opportunity this spring. But it'll be good to turn, down that street and to see all the people in the yards and having a good time and doing what our football games do and our kind of classics do, is bringing a lot of excitement to that city.
Next question goes to Mo Carter.
Morning, Dr. Ely.
Well, you say, brother Mo, sounding like Lou Rawl.
Hey, just using the voice that God provided me with to my best abilities. Okay, so of course, we talked about how things will be a little bit different this year, but a little bit more close to normalcy with the Magic City Classic, which I know you and your staff are going to be excited about. But once everything's all over with all the hoopla, you got to play a football game. So with that being said, how do you and your staff handle the preparation and try to basically make sure that, you guys are honed in on what's at hand, and that's beating your arch rival?
Well, again, we hadn't had the success we wanted in that Classic and coming up short the last couple of times we played. So, all that event stuff is good to see, but that's for the fans. We're still going against one of the better passing attacks, not just glass, but the whole surrounding that's in college football, not just HBCU. So, we got to have our I's dotted and T's crossed, defensively. Over there, they still playing stout, very physical. And again, once you go into this game, whatever that they weren't working, executing before this game brings the best out of everybody. So, we'll be focused on that 60 minutes of football and trying to find a way to defend one of the better passing attacks that anybody will see that's playing football.
Okay. And just on a final note, of course, many are aware of the friendship that you and Coach Connell Maynor have, and you can take shots and jabs. So, of course, he said he's going to be going back and forth on the sidelines. You think you're probably going to even pay attention to him actually doing that?
Hey, I hope he does. So if his offense is on the 30 on one end, I'm going to walk to the other end and see what he does. And so if that's going to be a part of the distraction, then hell, I'm gonna walk him to death. He better have some good shoes on, if we can keep him away. But again, man, this is we played football for 60 minutes and 4 quarters, and if you're gonna teach your players to have sportsmanship, then the coach start with the head coaches. I mean, we gotta have enough respect for each other that we're gonna do our job. It's not gonna make either one of us any less wanting to win, but if you playing chess at home, you don't invite a stranger over, you invite a friend over. So it means that much more when you have a chance to win. So our players, they filter through our lens of how we respect each other, and I think that goes a long ways, that we can keep the game in perspective. That it's going to always be a rivalry game, but I don't have to hate you to tie our laces together and just punch the one of us fall out. All
right, thanks, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Dr. Ely, how's it going today?
What's going on, my brother?
I'm good. It's the big matchup. Looking forward to it.
Thriller in Manila.
Yes. Birmingham, the city that it all goes down in the Gray Lady. I want to ask you a little bit about the Classic in terms of how these games have seemed to be so close and go down to the wire. What is the focus point that you talk to your players about being prepared to play that 60 minutes that you talk about?
Again, it's an opportunity for them to play in one of the oldest Classic, but more importantly, one of the largest Classic. And then with all the, the families that's coming and all the tradition that go in, the Classic does a good job of providing both teams with the opportunity to visit the the African American Museum that they have there. There's so much history that's in it that the guys feel a part of the city. Neither one of the teams are from Birmingham, but we have a lot of the young men that's represented, Birmingham on our teams. And when you get a chance to play in your backyard and from the recruiting standpoint, that there's so many aspects that go into it to get the guys up that it feels like a home game for each team.
Thank you, Coach. Great point.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck this week.
Thank you, brother.
We're taking questions for Coach Hill-Eley. Final questions for Coach. Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Hey, thank you all. Have a great morning.
Thank you. All right. Once again, to all of our media that are joining us on our call, if you do have questions, Coach, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Happy to be joined by Alcorn State head coach Fred McNair. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent victory at Texas Southern.
Well, I thought it was a great performance by the group as a whole. Just being able to execute the way we should have been throughout the year, just getting the offense on track and doing the thing we're supposed to do to score points, and actually the game was a little closer than it appears to be. Coach McKinney had those guys ready to play a full 60 minutes, outstanding coach and individual. Had those guys ready to play football. So just coming out and we got a block punt on their first possession. We blocked the punt for a score. That just shows the approach on and how much we come so far in special teams play in the last few weeks. Just playing special teams been outstanding for us. Our offense is just like I said, they hitting their strides right now, and defense is still playing tough. We gave up two big pass plays there for touchdowns. And we got to eliminate that, busted coverage and all. So not to say less about what they're doing, what Texas Southern doing on offense. They had a great scheme. They ran the ball well. Quarterback threw for over 300 yards, and it was big. So we was able to come out of that Texas with a win, and glad to be back in Texas once again. Playing, it's been a while since we played in Texas. It's been Houston. Our fan base, Joe, was outstanding. Great group. Fan was tremendous. Just an excellent atmosphere for football.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll up for questions for Coach McNair. First question goes to Jim Klein-Peter.
Yeah, Coach, a couple of 3 weeks ago, you were talking about Felix Harper struggling a little bit. From the looking at the stats, looks like he may have gotten some of his issues settled. What's that been like, and what did you do to get him going?
The biggest thing is just put his eye where it needs to be. Progress in the reads and the coverage and things of that nature, and understanding what they're trying to do in the rotation of the safeties, and just really his eyes was bad, and I think he was more watching the rush and things of that nature instead of the eyes downfield. So we kind of sit him down and talk to him about that and see what his thought process was, and in terms of missing reads and missing open receivers during the course of a route concept that we have. So he was able to fix that this past week. He had a great week of practice, getting ready for Texas Southern. So, he did all the things well we expect him to do in the bounce back. So just doing those things, just kind of narrowing the package down a little bit and getting him on a rhythm, get him in a rhythm to where he can make good throws and make good decisions with the football.
And talk a little bit about Southern, what you see. They got a running game that you have to be concerned about. Just what's your approach toward them this week?
And that's always been Southern. I think Coach Rollins is doing a great job as being the head coach there, and they've been able to run the ball for a long time. It was just not only this year; they've been doing that in the years past, even when Coach Odom was there. So they're going to do what they do, and we just got to be able to stop the run and as well as the pass. They got a good passing game too. They got good concepts in what they do offensively. And so the biggest thing is we just got to be able to counteract what they're doing and make sure we put our arms around the tackle and make the tackle. So we do that, I think we'll be okay.
Thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach McNair, I wanted to ask you a little more about the Texas Southern game, but in terms of the weather delay. I think we take it for granted that coaches are able to get to it and get into it, but how does that affect you or the team in terms of a weather delay like you had this past weekend?
You know, and the biggest thing as coaches here, man, we teach our guys expect the unexpected. We always talk about no distractions. We always talk about in spite of. Talk about just believe, you know, in ourselves and what we do. You know, we had a delay in South Alabama, you know, with the lights for an hour and a half there. So able to come out there with a close ball game, had a chance to win at the end. But these young men, we teach them to teach them the things that they really have to know out of the norm and being prepared for anything that comes up, you know, and I think that these young men that we got is kind of used to that, and so much of a way that's a normalcy for them. Things happening in such ways that is not a normalcy for them. So rain delay was an hour and a half, I think. Kickoff didn't start to 8:35. So we was there for an hour and a half. We was there and got a chance to to just visit each other, you know, just talk about football, and as coaches get kind of relaxed and good thing they had the TV on, and then our coaches obviously watched a few college football games during that time, so kind of relaxed a little bit. But the biggest thing is getting these guys to understand we still got to go out and play a 60-minute game of football, and they was wrapped up, they was ready to play, and that's one thing I talked to them during the pregame meal. You know, I just told them to put it all on me, you know, and if they make a mistake, it's my fault, you know. So if something happened during the course of the game, it's my fault. So they realized that during the course of that. So those guys respond very well. I tell you that they did that. By me saying that, put it on me, they responded very well. And I'm very proud of this group of young men that we have and we're coaching today, being able to respond to those things that the coaches ask of them. So they're doing a good job.
No doubt, Coach. When you talk about it, just seems like the resiliency of your team really takes from your leadership. So I appreciate that. I did want to ask one follow-up quick question about Southern in general. What are you looking to get done in that matchup besides trying to get out of there with the win?
You know, the biggest thing is continue to execute, continue to play fast on defense, continue to play special teams well as we've been playing in the last few weeks. Offensively, you know, I think we're hitting our strides now offensively. So I think that Felix understands that this offense really revolves around him and what he can do to make this offense go. And all the guys trust him to the point of where he can be the leader of this offense. So he's done that very well. But the biggest thing is going out in Baton Rouge and playing a good Southern football team it's going to take effort, and we got to be able to dominate all phases of it. So we got to be able to do that to beat a good Southern football team to come out with a win.
Thank you, Coach McNair. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Jim Klein-Peter.
Yeah, Coach, sitting out the spring season, did you through the week so far, have you noticed that did it give you any discernible advantage or disadvantage over the other teams that played games instead?
No, I think that once we got into spring training, everything's kind of flowed just as we expected. You know, people have to realize there's never been a spring football season ever. So just being the normalcy of being in the spring, practicing in the spring, getting things done in the spring the way we should get it done, working on individual stuff from tackling to ball security up until camp in August. You know, it's a normalcy for us, and those things we expect. You know, you go from the month of December to February, and then get in our spring training in March and April. You know, so it's a normalcy for us. I mean, wasn't nothing that is out of ordinary that kind of make us play the way we're playing. We just got to make sure that we execute well. and understand the purpose of our team and what we got to do to win ball games.
And another question about your defense. Has your defense been consistent since week one? And what has been its progression this year? Did it struggle at any point, or do you feel like it's in good shape right now?
I've seen some things that have gotten better as far as the tackling. I think that we're tackling the ball very well. We're creating turnovers at the same time. So I think there is some consistency in what they're doing in terms of that. And they're just playing fast to the ball. One thing about this football team, they're going to give effort. They're going to give 110% effort when they play on defense as well as offense. So we're an effort team. So we're going to make sure we're putting out effort. And the thing we have to do when we're putting out the effort, make sure we're making the plays when we put it out. So I think that we're doing that on a consistent basis on defense, causing turnovers, interceptions, and all that kind of stuff there too. Just the tackling aspect of it, I think we've gotten better since day one.
Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Next, we'll be joined by Bethune-Cookman head coach, Terry Sims. I do see we have Coach Sims on with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Just 1 second, Coach. Okay, there we go. Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your game last week and state of your program.
Sure. Went down to Jackson or over to Jackson and played a really good football team. I think when you look at our start, we started out well. I don't think we played a bad football game. I think we had some glaring mistakes. One on our kickoff team. We after halftime we allowed a kickoff to get out of there. We missed 4 tackles and they scored. They were prepared to make the plays. They made them and they capitalized on all our mistakes. I don't think we played very well at the quarterback and the corner position. Those are positions that we have to pay some special attention to right now because we let too many things get away from us at those 2 positions, left too many plays on the field. So that's something that we'll definitely have to work on this week. But again, great showing by Jackson. Don't want to take anything away from that football team. They did a great job on Saturday on capitalizing on our mistakes.
Appreciate those comments. Coach, what up for questions for Coach Sims with Bethune-Cookman? Coach, obviously a bye for your team this upcoming week. What are some of the things outside of
kind of lost you?
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now, Coach?
No, you're going in and out, but I can.
Okay. If you could just kind of talk to us a little bit about some of the things you'd like to accomplish during your upcoming bye week.
Well, number one, we're going back to square one. We'll do a lot of individual this week. Pay special attention to our guys. Obviously, get healthy. We have a number of guys that are banged up. Some guys that have not played, since week 2. So, we have some guys out that we should be getting back. And again, we'll just go back to square one. We'll tighten up some things fundamentally. We'll get back to doing the things that we do. We'll be able to slow some things down this week, and get some guys some rest, but also pay attention to the things that have been, hurting us over these last few weeks.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Thank you. Coach Sims, how's it going this morning?
It's going. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I see you continue to fight. Your team continues to fight. Got out to a great start in that game in terms of the scores early, and then things didn't go your way. I want to talk about your team trying to put together 4 of the quarters. It's like they have some great quarters in their times. It doesn't quite go their way. Are there some things that attribute to that you are seeing that you're continuing to work on to try to change that factor? Or are you still looking for it?
Well, I think we know what it is, and we are working on it. I think this was probably one of the better games that our defense played against the run. Mm-hmm. We just, we dropped coverage a few times. We had a corner that forced the guy out of bounds, and instead of continuing to run with him, he let the guy run 2 yards in front of him. He dove and caught the ball and scored. Then we got beat inside on a slant, down in the red zone, which those are things that, they're taught every day. They're talked about, talked to about every day. It's just things that we have to make sure we're focusing on and paying more attention to the details of each position.
In terms of your front seven, they were attacking in this game, and they've had some games where they've been very solid in terms of that. Talk about the play and some of the key factors that are allowing you to be able to do that and stop the run against Jackson State this particular weekend.
Well, we got a couple guys, back, a couple guys healthy that were, playing well for us early on. And I think it's just an attitude. Our guys are never going to give up, and we're going to continue to fight. I think the thing with us is, those one or two plays that get away from us, they're not just big plays for big gains, they're touchdowns. And
mm-hmm.
Those are things that we're working on now to eliminate those, 2 or 3 things. And I think we'll be in pretty good shape. We just have to focus on us and make sure that we're getting back to the things that make us who we are as a football program.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
You'll get a bye week, and then the saga continues. You'll get an opportunity to host Alcorn State University. Just talk about moving forward. And again, it's all about Wildcats football.
It is. It's all about us. It's all about focusing on us. We play some really good football teams. And, we haven't been able to get the ball to bounce our way. We're going to take some time this week, like I said earlier, rest, work on some fundamentals, make sure that we're tightening up things in our position groups and with our units as a whole, because we're going to have another great football team coming in here. Coach McNair, he's always had his teams prepared. When you look at any Alcorn football team, I don't care what time of the year it is, beginning of the season, end of the season, they're going to play hard. And we know that, and we're going to, try and match and exceed their intensity. That's what it has to be when you deal with football teams like that. They're going to come in and play for 60 minutes, and that's exactly what we have to do. But, this week we're going to take some time and prepare ourselves for that and make sure we get as many guys healthy as we can. But, again, work on as many fundamentals as we can work on to make sure that we don't have these small mistakes coming up and biting us at key moments in these football games.
Thank you, sir. Good luck going forward.
Thank you.
Currently taking questions for Coach Sims with Bethune-Cookman. Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, thank you for your time. We'll look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are happy to be joined by head coach Willie Simmons. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning.
Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing at Mississippi Valley State.
Well, for the second week in a row, we traveled to a hostile environment. Anyone who's been to Mississippi knows how tough it is to play there. And we try to prepare our guys mentally for what they're about to see. But until you see it for yourself, it's a little different. But again, I thought the guys did a great job, started fast, jumped out to a 17-0 start. And in true fashion, which I knew Valley would do, they clawed back and made it a ball game. Actually took the lead there late in the fourth quarter. But for the second week in a row, we were able to pull ahead. Bishop Bonnet had another huge game, another big run to spark a touchdown there late. And then the defense did what it's done all season. They stood up when they needed to and was able to preserve the victory. So a great team win. Again, we didn't play our best for 4 quarters, still trying to get there, but this group is finding ways to win games, and that's important. So excited to be 5-2, 3-1 in conference play, returning home for our last home game, homecoming this week, obviously to take on Grambling, a team that has as much, if not more, history and tradition as FAMU. And so it'll be a great game, great atmosphere, senior night for our guys, and looking forward to a great week. So excited to be here, and look forward to taking you guys' questions.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll open it up for questions for Coach Simmons. First question goes to James Hill.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, James.
Homecoming week at the highest of 7 hills. Take us back to the first homecoming you ever remember at FAMU.
Wow, that's going to date me. It's probably been 30 plus years. Again, I'm a product of Rattlers. My entire family went to FAMU. So coming to parades Saturday morning, getting cotton candy apples, you name it here on Prairie Street, on Wanish Way. Again, just an amazing atmosphere that has become a part of our family culture. And so can't remember exactly my age the first time I came to a homecoming, but I know I was very young. And up until high school, I came every year. And so looking forward to bringing our kids to their first homecoming here at FAMU, the first of many, and continuing the family tradition because it is a part of my wife and I's family.
Coach, we flipped the script. Grambling State University comes in. Florida A&M plays host at Bragg. It's homecoming 2021. Just talk about that game and what you envision. And again, some of the keys that you want to talk about as far as X's and O's.
Well, obviously, homecoming is a game that every Rattler wants to win. Would not have chosen Grambling as a traditional opponent, but just kind of the way the schedule fell, it was really the only game that we could have picked for homecoming. But again, the utmost respect for Coach Fobbs and the job that he's done there. He's a Grambling-ite. He understands that culture. And I told my team yesterday, you're talking about probably the 2 blue blood programs when you talk about Black college football colliding head to head. When you think about what Eddie Robinson was able to do at Grambling, what Jake Gaither was able to do here at FAMU, on that Mount Rushmore, they're probably at the very top. And so again, just 2 programs that mean the world to this landscape of college football. And I'm looking forward to a great matchup against a well-coached football team, a team that's starting to hit their stride at the right time. And, obviously we'll need to play very sound football to be successful against this bunch.
Thank you, sir. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Charles Bishop.
Good morning, Coach Simmons. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Charles.
I wanted to follow up on what you were talking about with regards to the blue blood programs in Florida A&M and Grambling. What is it like for you to be able to be the head coach of Florida A&M and these 2 historic brands getting together on the gridiron?
Well, when you take a job such as FAMU or Grambling, or Jackson State in many cases, you're walking, you're filling shoes that are too big to fill, right? When you're talking about trying to live up to a William Bell, a Jake Gaither, a Rudy Hubbard, Billy Joe, even a Joe Taylor. Even though Joe's tenure wasn't as long as some of those other guys. I'm walking on the shoulders of giants every single day. I'm reminded the moment I walk into this building of the greatness that is Florida A&M. And that's a huge responsibility for me. Just like I know Broderick feels the same way, walking into that building every day, trying to fill the shoes of Eddie Robinson and Doug Williams. And so, again, you don't take these jobs without understanding the pressure that comes along with it, the expectation to win, the expectation to be successful on every week. And that's why our guys work as hard as we do. But again, there's no place I'd rather be. I want to be at a place where the expectations are through the roof, because again, that means that these people love football and they expect excellence every time we take the field.
For a quick follow-up question, and I'm going to turn the page, talk about the Mississippi Valley State game. You mentioned specifically the environment up there in Itabena. Talk a little bit about what that environment was like and this scrappy Valley team that kind of fought back into this football game.
Well, I'll tell you what, after the game, during our post-game shake, I told Coach Dancy they are the right man for the job. He understands that culture. He knows how to get the most out of those guys. And I tell you what, they play as hard as any team I've played all season. They're scrappy. They're tenacious, and they play for one another, and again, he's done a great job of building a culture there that even though the wins may not show up on paper, and again, I know that's very important, but you can see what he's building there at that place. And so, again, very tough place to play. And, it's been that way for a long time, but now I think they have the talent there that they haven't had in a long time. And he's doing a great job of getting the most out of those guys.
Sure thing. Thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Simmons, I want to stick with the refrain about Mississippi Valley. But in terms of your team, what does it talk about your team that while the expectations for people maybe that you put up these points, you get ahead, but they don't go too high, too low, they get behind and they continue to fight. What does that say about your team during this part of the year?
Well, one thing I think it says is that we believe in our philosophy. We have our 7 F's, and one of those F's is fight. And we're going to continue to fight, and the next F after fight is finish. And so for us, like I told the defense, we gave up a huge play there in the fourth quarter. They called a big ball on us, and we called a timeout. So I walked to the defense and said, hey, did they score? Did they put points on the board? And they said, no. I said, exactly, right? We got to finish. We gave up a play. Now we have to just finish the drive. And ultimately, they didn't score on that drive. And so for us, it's about understanding who we are, understanding that every opportunity we get to play the game, if there's more time on the clock, that gives us a shot to prove who we are and what we're worth. And I think these guys are starting to buy into that and understand that. And they're finishing games the way that we need to finish. And so hopefully, every game won't come down to the wire, but I do feel confident that if it is a close game, that this group can show as it has in 2019 and it's starting to show here in 2021 that we can finish ball games the right way.
Thank you, Coach Simmons. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Simmons, good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning, Ty.
Hey, quick question, Coach, about the 1967 game between Grambling and Florida A&M, the Orange Blossom Classic. Have you ever heard about that game?
I've heard many games about the Orange Blossom Classic and many games about FAMU and Grambling. Can't single out that one. So if you have something, I'd definitely love to hear it.
Well, it was about a book written called Breaking the Line about James Harris, who was Grambling's quarterback and groomed to be one of the first NFL black quarterbacks. It was a great game between Coach Robinson and Coach Lunzo. I'm sorry, name it changed, right? Jake Gaither, rather, down there in Florida in 1967. But besides that, what are your greatest concerns about this Grambling team? Because they're not your typical homecoming opponent. I don't know who scheduled that game as a homecoming game.
Well, the concern is always the same. Again, we have to come play, ready to play football against a defense that we haven't seen all year. They pose a lot of challenges by what they do on that side of the ball. And so offensively for us, it's about trying to simulate the scheme and the speed during practice this week. I've faced this team a lot of the times. I've gone against Broderick Fobbs' Coach Grambling team. I haven't had much success against Coach Fobbs while he's been at Grambling. And so for us, we know it's going to be a tough game. We know it's going to be a hard-fought football game between two programs who have, again, as much pride in the colors they wear as anybody in America. And so I think it's going to come down to who wants it more, who's able to go out there and execute and do the little things right, but it's going to be a 60-minute ball game, and a team that comes in and executes, a team that plays hard and plays together will ultimately be the team that has the best chance to be successful.
Why is it always tougher facing a team that's coming off a bye week?
I think it's tough, obviously, because they have more preparation time than we do. When you play a team like Grambling, who, again, is schematically different than any team you're going to see all year, preparation time is important. They've been able to scout us. They've been able to do a full 4 games, sometimes 5 or 6 game scout on us. So they probably know our tendencies a little better than we know theirs. They probably know our personnel a little bit better than we know theirs at this point. And so our job is to play catch up and see if we can match their preparation with our shorter preparation this week. But again, bye weeks are part of football, and nobody schedules them the way they happen at the same time. So we just have to be the best we can be after 6 days of prep, and hope that's good enough to be the team that's had an extra week to scout us.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Last question goes to Ken Rashad.
Coach, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, Ken.
Hey, your program has been in the news lately with respect to A.D. Gaucher and the possibility of postseason play, possibly with the FCS playoffs. What is your view with respect to the postseason and the event that you may not necessarily make it to the Celebration Bowl, but then you've got the option to possibly play in the FCS playoffs?
Well, my view is simple. If we're deserving, we should go. I think our resume speaks for itself. If we continue to play ball the way we played. Again, there's a lot of football left to be played, so this is a premature conversation. But at the end of the day, I think there are 4 teams right now, at least 4 teams that legitimately have a chance to say they're one of the top 24 programs in America. And if that's the case, then we deserve an opportunity to play in the FCS playoffs. The SWAC waived our automatic bid, which means the champion isn't required to go, right? It doesn't waive a bid at all. So if a team is deserving, we should go. And if that's FAMU or Prairie View, Alcorn, or Jackson State, one of the teams that's still playing for championship or postseason play, if we're deserving, if our resume speaks to that point, that we're one of the top teams in America based on voting, based on all the analytics, then I think we should deserve the opportunity to go and play in the FCS playoffs. We've done it before, as non-conference champions. In 1998, we went to the playoffs and made it to the semifinals. We were not MEAC champions that year, So again, when that time comes, if we're in that position, hopefully we'll have that opportunity. But again, it's a little bit premature now because we still have 4 regular season games left against 4 very, very capable opponents.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Simmons, as always, we appreciate your time. We'll look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you. Now go to Grambling State. Head coach Broderick Fobbs. I do see Coach Fobbs there with us. Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Coach, obviously a bye week for your program this past week. If you could just start us off kind of recapping your bye and then previewing your matchup at Florida A&M.
Well, I'll tell you, it was good to finally get a break. It's been a long season. Got a chance to really heal up a little bit. It was the first break since, the beginning of training camp. So our guys were ready to kind of get away from it for a little bit. So it was good to kind of get away from that, kind of be a fan and watch football, but still do a little bit of work to make sure we're ready and prepared and ready to execute, our plan. So, that was good, to do that, and it's good to kind of, get back to work on yesterday and get focused on this week's preparation.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll open it for questions for Coach Fobbs. First question goes to Jim Klein-Peter.
Hey, Coach Fobbs. Would you talk a little bit about now that Florida A&M is in the conference, going there and having a marquee matchup like this? What your reaction was to adding them to the conference and how much enjoyment it gives the fans to have these even more marquee matchups than before.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Florida is a state that's rich in, football talent and tradition. And, FAMU is no different. It's one of the premier programs, in college football. And it's always been, one of the best programs in college football. So we're excited about getting the opportunity to go over there and compete. We're competing against one of the best. And who wouldn't want to compete in that type of environment? It's going to be a lot of people there. It's homecoming. We thrive in those type of atmospheres, and we look forward to those type of, atmospheres. I mean, I just think it's great. Anybody that's a competitor, you want to participate in those type of environments and those type of games. So we're looking forward to it. Plus, recruiting is big for us. Not only in this great state of Louisiana, but also in that state as well. So it's important for us to play well, and it's important for us to play Grambling Tiger football.
Also, in your off week, I know you've had some offensive struggles this year. Did you do any additional tweaking to it? Are you working on something there?
We're always working. It's always important, for us to scratch away at itches. Things that you don't do well, you try to figure out why. When you have more time, and things that you are doing well, you want to make sure that you continue to doing those things well. So that's no different. Regardless of the struggles or not. You're always looking at what you can do and what you can do better. And that's really what we've always done here at Grambling State University. We played really good defense in the 8 years that we've been here. But even on that side of the ball, you want to look at what we're not doing well. and then you want to make sure that you scratch where it itches.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody in Grambling are well. It's James Hill with BNC Sports. When you look at the ongoing conversation and dialogue of Florida A&M and the Grambling State University playing two HBCU Blue Bloods this week in the homecoming in Tallahassee, can you just talk about that conversation and, again, what it's like to be a part of that legacy and your earliest memories of FAMU?
Well, I mean, it's huge. This stuff was going on way before, myself and Coach Simmons was born. There's a lot of people that played a major role in these two institutions and these two programs being where they are at this particular time. So it's huge, it's big, and just like anything else, you're proud to be here wearing black and gold, and you're proud to be a part of it. I've been a part of it as a player, but then also I'm a part of it as a coach now, which is always, fun. Our last time that I remember, playing Florida A&M was 1992, and what was then called the I can't think of it wasn't a Celebration Bowl then. It was the I can't think of the name of it, but it was a bowl game.
Heritage Bowl.
Then. Yeah, Heritage Bowl that we played in back then. So really great performance, great by the Tigers at that particular time. But this game is different. Each year is different, and you gotta make sure that you prepare and play the game the right way.
Thank you, sir. Good luck this week.
Question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Fobbs, good morning.
Good morning.
It seems like we come on here every week and we start talking about these great matchups. So I guess it's just the way of the land. But I wanted to ask you about your defense. There's been a lot of focus, rightfully so, on top 10 defenses over the last couple of weeks with Jackson State, FAMU, and Prairie. But your defense has been really solid and strong. Talk about some of the people that are making it go on the defensive side of the ball, please.
Well, we feel we have a lot of guys, and we play a lot of guys, which kind of helps us. We feel really strong about our defensive line and the athleticism that we have up there. And then we feel really good in the secondary about some of the guys that we have there as well. But guys like Keenan Fontenot, Jay Reed, those guys, play really, really well. Brendan Vaughn, you name it, Hardy. All those guys, they do a really good job of playing with the effort that we desire. And that's really what, our focus is. We coach desire, we coach effort, we grade effort. Our mindset is, if you're not hustling, if you're not giving it everything you got, if you're not clawing and scratching, then you're playing for the other team. So that's really been our focus, since we've been here. And Coach Todd does a really good job, he and his staff, of make sure that we install that within our players.
In terms of this matchup, one last question from your offense, but looking specifically at the quarterback play. Freshman quarterback, Noah Biden, everybody's starting to understand he seems to continue to get better. Can you talk about what he needs to look at from a very strong defense coming into this game against FAMU this week?
Well, it's definitely, one of those situations when you're going into a hostile environment, it's always good, for a young kid to experience those things, because it's something that, that he hasn't experienced before. But, he's going to play against, a top 10 defense, and, in my opinion, higher than top 10. But, they are very, very good at what they do. They get after the quarterback. Really, really good up front. They rotate a lot of guys up front, which is also good. And then they're good in the secondary. But it's good for him to get that experience. It's good for him to compete on such a high level. We feel he has the ability to do so. He's learning every week. A lot of times he's so confident in himself. He's trying to make every play. But we're just getting him to the point where he understands when to take the opportunities and then when to call it quits, and then we'll play to live to play another day. So that's really what it's about. Our focus is just being aggressive, and getting after people and not being reactive, but being proactive.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend. Look forward to the matchup.
Fobbs, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to Arkansas Pine Bluff. And Arkansas Pine Bluff head coach, Doc Gamble. I do see we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for your time. If you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Arkansas.
You're breaking up a little bit. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Apologies for that, Coach. If you could start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Arkansas.
We played a good opponent, a really good SEC football team, and the Arkansas Razorbacks. I thought they jumped out on us early on. You know, I think we got adjusted really fast too as well. We played tough there in the opening quarter, and then they made some other big plays there in the second quarter. Proud of our guys. I thought we answered the bell, especially in the second half. You know, there wasn't any letdown. You know, the guys fought. We actually were able to move the ball against a bigger opponent. You know, the speed wasn't the speed of the game wasn't a big factor for us. The size was as expected, but we still were able to move the ball, and we made some stops at times. You know, so if you take away that second quarter, you know, we had we would have been even more so in the game. You know, the thought was to try to get it to the fourth quarter and keep it close, and then let the pressure be on those guys. So we improved. We led with the time of possession, so that's another good sign for us. Is we didn't turn the ball over a whole bunch. We did have 2 interceptions, but we were able to move the ball, and we got some stops at times. You know, so but we played a really good, really good opponent. It was a great day for the state of Arkansas as well. We had a big time crowd, and you know, and you know, we didn't flinch. You know, so our guys played really well. I mean, played the best we could against a really good opponent.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. First question goes to IC Morrell.
Coach, how you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing?
Just fine, thank you. Hey, Coach, I just want to ask you, what kind of similarities do you see between your team and Texas Southern as you guys move forward?
2 teams trying to find another win. That's the similarities. You know, that the bottom line. You know, you got 2 ball clubs coming in trying to get a win. You know, so but you know, you got 2 teams that Texas Southern is shown the ability to score some points, and we're looking to get back on being an explosive offense that we have been. So, but you got they're pretty good on defense, and their quarterback play is getting better each week. They got a gunslinger at quarterback, a freshman that I think is going to be an exciting player down the road. You know, and he's coming along. So, but the big similarities, you know, to me is you got 2 teams trying to get their next win.
Yeah, and Coach, I also want to ask, how's Coach Treble doing? By the way, the offensive coordinator.
And why you asked about Tread? Well, he's doing well. Tread as well. You know, he's well, and he's back with us. He was out on you know, not to get into his personal stuff. I don't want to divulge, but he's back with us. So we back in the building, and we're happy to see him back. So you know, he was out with an illness.
Understood. That's all I had, Coach. Thanks very much.
Next question goes to James Hill.
That's all I had, Coach. Thanks very much.
All right.
Coach, can you just share your thoughts on Skylar Perry and your offensive guys and your skill positions and what you think as we move forward?
Skylar we're still looking. Actually, he played pretty well. He played better against Arkansas. You know, he depends on. We just looking for more consistency from him. You know, and with that, and from him trying to get him back to where he was in the spring. We yet to see that, but he showed some glimpses of that this past Saturday. You know, so I'm very happy with him. He played with some real good toughness. You know, he ran the ball well. You know, he didn't look like he was panicking like he had been in a couple of other games prior to this one. So we're just looking forward to him getting back to, you know, to the old Skylar, you know, and I don't know. I mean, I'm always joking around, just trying to keep a smile on the guy's face at times. But maybe we had to stop giving him so many interviews. You know, he's starting to feel a little weight on his shoulders a little bit. But no, he played settled. He settled in this past week, and he played really well. And he looked like a guy that deserved to be on the field. I tell you that. That's what he did look like this past weekend. Offensively, you know, and not to put everything on him, some other guys got to step up and play better as well.
Coach, what can you take going out of that guarantee game against Arkansas, moving forward and going back into conference play?
Well, the biggest thing too is, you know, sometimes when you go play an opponent from the Power Five, you think the speed of the game is going to be a challenge for your guys. And I don't think that was the case here this past weekend. I think our guys, and that's a big time positive for us, because in the past and some other places I have been, the speed of the game has been the biggest difference in the game. But in this case, it wasn't, you know, but our guys played tough and we played fast. So being able to show that, I think that's going to help us here down this home stretch.
Thank you, sir. Good luck going forward.
All right. Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Gamble, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Good to have a chance to dialogue with you. Don't want to belabor the point too much, but I did want to ask you in regards to the health of your team coming out of that game, but over the final part of the season, just in terms of you being able to put your best foot forward coming out of the last couple of games.
Well, we still got guys out, you know, but coming out of that game, we came out really, we're still healthy. Maybe lost probably one guy, you know, a guy that contributes. But we're still looking forward to getting some other guys back, and we'll know today and throughout the week if they'll be able to go. You know, still cut down a few linemen, and two explosive receivers are out as well. So we're making do. We're making do, and like I tell the guys, don't nobody care if you don't have your good guys ready to go or not. You know, you got to play with who you got is next man up. And to be honest with you, here this past weekend, the next man up did okay this past weekend. So they did okay, but you still look over your shoulder and you see, you know, Tyron Ralph on the sideline. You see a DeJuan Miller on the sideline. Some of our playmakers that, you know, to take a little bit of pressure. Arkansas gave us some respect because they double teamed. You know, they played some bracket coverages on a couple of guys, and which is out of respect. You know, they prepared for us. You know, they didn't overlook us, and so that was exciting. And then, you know, their coach gave us a compliment at the end of the game. You know, he thought that we were a well-coached team, and you know, and he said it before, we were just you know, a play or two away from, you know, having a winning season right now. So they did their homework, and but still, we got some pieces out. We're looking forward to seeing if where they are here today and throughout the rest of the week.
Final question I have for you is your defense looking at the offense as the schedule guides will have it. You know, we talk about some of the dynamic quarterback play in this conference in terms of seniors, but we also have the young guns coming in, if you allow me to use that frame, with some of the freshmen over there with Jackson State, Shador Jackson, and then Andrew Body. In terms of Texas Southern University, Noah Ball and Grambling, as it would have it, you play two of the freshmen back-to-back, starting with Texas Southern University. What do you do without getting into schematics? Obviously, you want to tell the world, but are there certain things that you want to do with your defense as you look at a freshman quarterback compared if you played maybe a more seasoned quarterback?
It's funny you say that because we just talked about it yesterday, and we talked about it this morning. And you playing against freshman quarterbacks, you want them to be freshman quarterbacks. That's what you want them to be, you know, and you want those guys to make as many mistakes as possible. You know, of course, they're going to make the thing about freshman quarterbacks is and we had it here with our guy. They'll correct the mistakes that they've made, but they'll make a new mistake. So we got to make those guys make new mistakes. You know, they're going to go back and correct what was in the past, but until new mistakes going to always come until they get more seasoned. You know, so the thing about with freshman quarterbacks, you just can't let them have a career day against you. You know what I'm saying? So we got to find ways to make those guys look like freshman quarterbacks.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Great. Thank you.
Any final questions for Coach Gamble? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Florida A&M.
I thought we played a good team. FAMU, well coached. Coach Simmons does a great job of getting those guys prepared. I thought we played a very, very good team. We came out. We just started slow offensively. Again, this week we kind of started slow. Defensively, we kind of stayed steady. They scored early. They came out with a field goal in the first quarter, but then they scored right before the half. And then we came out and defensively, we just started rising to the occasion like I know we should and we could. And we able to force a few turnovers. Intercepted the pass and took it, scored. So we got on the board early. We put our offense in position to score. And then our offense started clicking. We started making some big plays down the field in the passing game and in the run game. We stayed steady. And it just came down to one crucial situation. It was 4th and 1. And, I believe in my guys, having one of the best top running backs in the SWAC. I thought we can get that 1 yard, but, we slipped and fell. And I live with it. Any day of the week, I believe in these guys. I trust these guys. They trust me. So I trust them, and yeah, it came down to that, that was it, man.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll up for questions for Coach Dancy. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Coach Dancy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on what you were talking about with regards to having one of the top running backs in the conference, and Caleb Johnson. But you also got contributions this past week from Darian Williams. Talk about what dimension he added to the Valley offense.
Well, we knew Darian would help us out. Earlier, he started slow because he was coming off a bad ankle sprain, high ankle sprain, and he just couldn't get going, early in the season. We knew that would linger on a few weeks. And we just wanted to stay steady with him and limit his reps and only try to run him when we could. But we knew we had 2 talented running backs, big time transfer out of ECU that would back up Caleb. And now, that ankle is getting better, and we starting to lean on him more as the season goes. But Caleb has been our rock. He's been our guy this whole season. Like I said all year, he's one of our best players on the team. He's a dynamic kid. And we expect a lot from him, and he knows that. So, a lot of weight is on his shoulder, but he's prepared for it week in and week out. So we're going to continue to ride that horse.
Coach, I wanted to follow up and ask you about your punter, Orlando Fernandez. He is one of the top punters in the league. He had a huge 69-yard punt this past week. But talk about the dynamic he brings in terms of field position and helping out that defense.
Oh, man, I wish he could have kicked his 69 before right after the half before we had the punt return scored on us. But oh man, just a great young man. We asked Orlando to do everything in the kicking game. He's a phenomenal field goal kicker as well. Absolutely has a strong leg. I think he's 55 and in from field goal and can punt it about 69, 70 yards easily. So yeah, man, he's a great young man, a great kid that we rely on, and it's nothing more I can say about that. Is he's just a great kicker for us.
Good thing. Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Dancy, don't want to belabor the point, but I do want to ask you in terms of the sideline before the play was called, how much of that was the team saying that they wanted to go get that yard? And why is that important at that time as you believe in your team and your team believes in you, and although it did not work out, how that can push the program forward about the team saying we want a coach that allows us to be able to talk about going forward in situations like that.
Right. Yeah. Right before the play, I set the field goal unit on, but we had a kid to run on late, and I didn't want to rush the field goal. And I took a timeout, and I came to the sideline, and one thing I didn't want to do, I knew they had 2 timeouts left, and I didn't want to give them an opportunity to get the ball back and put it in their hands because they have a great field goal kicker as well. And I didn't want to put it back in their offense hand because they had just took it right down and scored on us. And our defense had played so many snaps early in the first half. I mean, I think we played close to almost 40 snaps early in the half. And so I knew if we
And I asked our guys, and they told me, Coach, we want to go for it. We can get it. And like I said, man, I believe in these guys. I've been believing in these guys since day one, and I trust these young men. They trust me. And so, and with having one of the best running backs in this conference, and if you've got one of the best running backs in this conference, you got to have a good offensive line in order for that young man to have the success he's having. So I felt like, we was going against a great FAMU defense with them having a good defensive line. But I felt like, at the end of the day, we could get 1 yard, and just so happened the young man slipped. Right. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it. I rely on I rely on my guys that's in this locker room. I take advice from them any day, any decision, and I would do it all over again and trust that they would get that 1 yard all over again. So, they asked for it, and we went for it.
Follow-up question quickly to get this in is your wide receiver, Ja'Cory Rankin, 5'9", 185 pounds, the junior. Port Gibson, Mississippi, plays bigger than his size, obviously. Season, 21 receptions, 350 yards. Only been able to get in the end zone once. But in this game, he had 147 yards, 4 receptions. Played big. Talk about what he brings to the table, particularly what he may be able to do against Jackson State.
Man, I'll tell you what, he's one of the hardest working young men I've ever been around. Week in and week out, he's never discouraged. And we try our best to get him the ball and get him the ball early, and try to get it to him in space. But this game, he was able to. He dropped a beautiful one that hit him right in the hands, But I'm expecting that week in and week out from this young man because he worked so hard. He was able to get behind a couple safeties on 2 big plays, and he was able to catch it and have some yak yards after the catch. So we rely on him a lot in our passing game, and we will continue to moving forward. He's a dynamic kid, so we want to continue to get him the ball. He's not big in size, but he's big at heart. So we want to continue to try to get the ball to him. And, hopefully this week he'll have the same type of game. At the end of the day, he's a fast kid. He's a dynamic kid. He's an elusive kid. So we want to give him the ball in space where he can move around and also give him some one-on-one matchups with any safety in this conference. And I guarantee you he can run by him. So that's it. I just trust that young man that he'll make that play. Unfortunately, he hasn't had the season that we wanted him to have, but hard work pay off, and if he continues to work hard, he'll continue to have these games like this, like he had Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll try to get 2 more questions in quickly. Next question goes to James Hill.
Coach Dancy, is James Hill with BNC Sports. When you look at Magnolia State rivalries in the SWAC, Jackson State, Alcorn, Valley, talk about this week. You've been a player, you're a coach, you've been on both sides. Share your thought process in the history of this tremendous rivalry.
Oh, man, it dates back. It goes back to the, Archie Cooley days and, the great days at Jackson State when they had all those tremendous coaches coming up. So, man, it's historically, it's a great rivalry, and everybody in Mississippi will come out to see this game. Very excited to be in it, to be a player in it, to be a coach at Jackson, and now to be the head coach here at Mississippi Valley State and to play and to be in this game, man. It's great, and just have to prepare our guys for it. Let them know that it's going to be a festive crowd and it's going to be a great atmosphere, and it's going to be a great football game at the end of the day.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Yes, sir.
Last question goes to Ken Rashad.
Coach, how you doing, sir? Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports.
Yes, sir.
I think it goes without saying, we know how explosive FAMU was on offense when you played them, but yet it appeared as if your offense was actually able to kind of go blow for blow with them during the course of the game. And you were able to actually kind of keep up with them whenever they made those big plays. We already know what Easton can do as a quarterback, but talk about the overall play of your offense with respect to a pretty stellar FAMU defense and your ability to move the ball down the field against that defense.
Yeah, we all week long we challenged our offense. We knew we were going against a good defense. They ranked statistically in a lot of different categories in the top 10. So we knew we had a challenge ahead of us. But again, we started slow offensively. We could have just put some points on the board early. It probably been a different game for us. And I thought our defense kind of gave our offense the energy that they needed by those big plays they made. But then our offense kind of seen, they seen the light. It took 30 minutes in order for us to do that. But once we seen the light, we was able to manage to muster up some big plays. We was able to move the ball at will when we wanted to. And like I said, it just came down to a 4th and 1 play. Either I kick the field goal, go to overtime, or I go for it on 4th and 1. We go for the win. I play to win. I wanted to put our guys in position to win the game and not tie the game, and that's what it came down to. But again, our quarterback had a good day for us. In percentage wise and passing yards wise, I think we threw the ball better this week than we did last week. So. Each week we're getting better, man. And like I said, I don't think we played our best game yet. And hopefully we go out this week and play our best game on both sides in 3 phases of the game. Special teams, we gave up a big touchdown on punt return that kind of changed the game a little bit, but we was able to fight back again and take the lead. So, we just got to continue to fight, play hard, fight, and play good in all 3 phases and play our best game in all 3 phases this week, because that's what it's going to take in order for us to be in this game and win this football game.
Coach Dancy, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to Prairie View A&M. Prairie View A&M head coach Eric Dooley. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing at Southern.
Well, yeah, we had the opportunity to go down to Baton Rouge, which it was homecoming. So whether it was homecoming or not, we knew it was going to be a hostile crowd down there. It was going to be a great atmosphere to play some college football, and my players accepted the challenge. I thought it was going to be a hard-fought contest, no question about it, because we know what Southern University brings to the table. But I do commend my guys for going down there and understanding the magnitude of the game and keeping their composures. Thought it was a great football game for both universities. Fortunate enough, we came out on top.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll open it up for questions for Coach Dooley. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Dooley, good morning.
Good morning.
I want to talk to you about your wide receiver, senior, 5'8", 107 pound from Austin, Texas, LaDamian Brooks. Had a big game, 2 touchdowns, 108 yards on 13 receptions. On the seasons, he has 360 yards, 60 attempts on 4 touchdowns, playing really well this season. Talk about his play.
Well, he's a running back, but he's a guy that's very versatile. He's a guy that I think you got to be able to put the ball in his hands in space, because he can do some great things for you. So he's a mature guy, been around this conference for a long time, so understands the offense well. So it's just a guy that we lean on to make some big plays for us.
Do you like the scheduling break that worked out this season in terms of having a bye early and then coming in to bye this week before you close out on the final part of the season?
I guess it helps in all different phases. We always try to look at the positive top side, because whether I like it or not, it's going to stay the same. So my thing is to just make the best of it. We'll use this here time right now. We're actually rolling now, so we won't really take a break like a normal you're talking about open date, because we do have some guys that are healthy. So we'll still try to mend some things together, continue to work on Prairie View, and try to fix some of the things that we have an opportunity to get better in.
Last question I have is, and you're right, I meant to say running back, wide receiver, apologize for that. But Jawan Pass at the quarterback position, how is he matriculating and moving through the offense as you see it?
You can see his maturity. It doesn't matter about the mistakes that he makes. He can, most time, that's why we call coaches. We try to correct those mistakes. But he's a young man that's intelligent enough and have the knowledge of the game to correct himself. So that gives us a big plus right there. But the young man is doing extremely well for us. I still think he have another level that he can go up to. He just got to continue to work, and he's going to continue to work hard. That's who he is, and that's what he like to do.
I did want to ask you about your defense and just how strong they've played. A lot of the attention has gone, rightfully so, to Jackson State and FAMU's defense. Have a top 10 defense that is playing really well. What are your thoughts about what they're bringing to the table and the difference they make, the challenge for Prairie View as it continues to ride out this season?
there are a big reason that we're all where we're at right now because of some of the things that they've been able to do. When you take a look at their third down situations, they've been over. I can say they've been like 70 to 80% on third downs, getting off the field. Certain games we gave us some big plays, but they rallied back and they played hard. They played fast and physical for 60 minutes. I couldn't ask anything else of those guys. Just continue to grow. There's still some corrections that we can make to make us a better defense as well as a better football team. But it's good to make those corrections in the position that we're in right now.
Thanks, Coach Dooley. Good luck as you move forward with the rest of the season.
Thanks.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Coach Dooley, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Awesome. When you look at your football team and a bye week and then continuing to grind down the stretch with a great foundation, 6-1, just talk about moving forward.
Well, we want to continue to progress. We want to make sure that we keep the chemistry going that we have going. I do understand we have to pause because of a bye week, but that doesn't stop us from practicing and grinding and making sure that we can correct the things that are correctable. You can win and still have a lot of things that you need to correct because of what we're looking for and what we're hoping for. So those are the things that we're going to do. We already had the opportunity to do a self-scout on ourselves. Now we have an opportunity to sit down and work some things that can help us to be a much better football team.
Coach Dooley, every week is a grind. When you look at your team and wanting to correct some things and going down the stretch, are there some things in-house that you see that you want to enhance as you go forward and work towards a championship?
Absolutely. Well, only thing we're working towards is that next game. We just need to be great in that next game because that's the only thing that we can control right now. So it's a lot of things that we need to correct in all three phases, not just as players, but as coaches. We have to do some corrections, some things that we need to do that could make us a better football team, put our players in a better situation. So those are the things that we look for. We look for anything that can help us to be a better football team, whether it be the way we take the field, the way we practice, the way we prepare. All those things, I think, helps to make you a better football team.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Stephen Gaither.
Coach Dooley, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Awesome. Great season so far. You guys, again, leading the division, one of the best defenses. And in the latest polls, national polls, you guys are receiving votes and kind of high up there. Obviously, you focused on what's on the field, but, knowing from where you started with the program until now, how good does it feel to get that national recognition? And do you feel like you guys are right there amongst being ranked? There's some teams with, far worse records than you guys that are behind there. So,
the only thing, I think all those things are good and great, for your program, for your university, and as well as for the players. But, I pride myself on not worrying about those things. I take a peek to see what's taking place. But the biggest thing is to put these young men in a position where they can be successful. As far as the things that we need to do, we want to control what we can control. The only thing that we can control is 60 minutes of football. So as long as we go out there and take care of that, I like our chances.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Any final questions for Coach? Coach Dooley, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you for taking some time to join us. If you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Prairie View A&M.
Heartbreaking loss. Tale of two halves this past Saturday. 14-7 ball game. Come out in the second half with the possession of the ball. First drive, turn it over. Give a good team a short field. Get the momentum, make it a 2-score ball game. Then make it 10 points, 3 minutes left in the third quarter. It's a 10-point ball game. Another turnover on the plus side of the field. Another turnover on the plus side of the field. So you can't give that many a good team like that, opportunities to score. And the game didn't go our way. So we're going to keep working hard to improve and put our better showing out this week.
Those comments, Coach. First question goes to Jim Klein-Peter.
Yeah, Coach. Y'all had trouble getting the Prairie View defenders out of the box, and you were talking about how you really couldn't make the plays over the top, enough plays over the top. Did you look at the film, and what did you see there when y'all were trying to loosen the box up?
Exactly what you said. When we tried to loosen up the box, they did a really good job of putting pressure on our quarterback and getting him off his mark. So it was a little bit of both. So when we dropped back 2 pass, they put pressure on our quarterback and some errant balls. So we threw the ball 27 times, but we didn't connect but 1. So, we weren't able to loosen the box up by throwing them out of it.
Y'all have been able to do that this year when teams have.
Yes, we've
in previous games.
We've prided ourselves on being good in the pass protection and good in the run game up front. So for some odd reason that we're working to figure it out exactly what went wrong and how can we correct it so that doesn't happen again. So we pride ourselves on being a balanced team. Even though we are a run-first team, we are normally a balanced football team, run and pass.
You talked about giving up explosive plays on defense too. What were your issues there?
Well, the little swing screen, the lateral, it's like a wide handoff. What happens? So when you can't get off a block outside, it's a lot of area for a fast guy to run. So you have to work on getting off of blocks. It wasn't missing tackles. It's just getting off of blocks in space down the field.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Rollins, I wanted to ask you a coaching philosophy question. In terms of 4th down, you had a couple of short yardage 4th downs that you decided to go for, ultimately went 3 for 4, so pretty successful on those attempts. Is that a nature in terms of you wanting to show your team that we're going to be aggressive and we think we can get the yard or 2 we need on a 4th down? Or is that just a feel for the game at the time that you make that decision?
It's a little bit of both. You do the study. It was less than a yard for 3 of them. There was 4th and less than a yard. So we felt as though we can get less than a yard. And it was on the plus side of the field. So being on the plus side of the field, you won't gain much or lose much. So we felt confident in being able to get 1 yard. So that's kind of more a feel for the game.
Follow-up question is about moving forward with the game this weekend, about the Braves. Alcorn State, obviously the program itself hasn't been successful over the last couple of years against the Braves. So you have a chance to really, change that momentum in terms of this game. What do you see in terms of things that you want to get done against this Alcorn State Braves?
We have to work on ourselves this week before we can really start discussing the upcoming opponent. So we have to get some things cleaned up in our own house first before we, go to another house, which that was what Sunday's for. Sundays is for corrections and cleanup. So with that being said, you playing a team that has championship pedigree. They played for the championship. The team that was picked to win the conference, led by quarterback Felix Harper, that's a tremendous football player. Also, they have a really good receiver in LaCharles Pringle that can make plays down the field. The little younger running back, Nico Duffy, he's a playmaker as well. So we have to defend all 3 triple threats offensively. And defensively, they play physical. They're a physical football team on the defensive line. They're very athletic in the secondary, in the secondary led by Jawan Taylor and Kinsler. They're good players. So defensive end, I know one of them personally, Solomon Wise, he's a really good pass rusher off the edge. They're long and athletic, and they do what they do, and they do it very well.
Last question I have for you is going back to what you said is looking inner and working on yourself. What are the things that you're able to do on Sunday to provide that opportunity to work on yourself, the program itself?
Well, every Sunday you always have a corrections cut up, and the corrections cut up may be a protection, it may be explosive. What hurt you, so you can fix it, because all coaches are copycats. So they're going to see what someone else did to you and see if you don't correct it, you're going to see it again the next week and the next week until you fix it. So that's kind of what you do every Sunday to fix those things going forward. Now, truth be told, it wasn't a bunch of corrections. It was just a physical football game. They played physical in the trenches, just a physical football team that played hard. And we knew that they were going to do that.
Thank you, Coach. Take care and good luck this weekend.
Yes.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Coach Rollins, is James Hill with BNC Sports. When you look at your Jags 3rd down conversions, just take us into your 3rd downs and what that's been like for you this season.
I tell you what, that's one of our, a thorn in our side right now. Anytime you're 3 of 15 on third down, that's not winning football. So you have to be able to convert third downs. Also, defensively, I think we're 8 of 12, letting them 8 of 13, giving them an opportunity to convert. So we have been pretty good on the defensive side of the ball of getting off the field. Now, this past game, great effort by Prairie for, taking away some of the things that we like to do on third down and getting us behind the sticks. So it's hard to convert third and long. So they did a good job of winning. In order to be good on third down, you have to win first down. So when you're at 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, it makes it for a tough third down. So you have to win first down so you can have a very manageable third down.
Coach, in recent falls, when we look at the last few seasons, we see your ball club, the Jags, and we also see Alcorn, and those two were at the top of the hill fighting for the SWAC crown. Can you just talk about that legacy and that history there between those two programs?
Well, there's the standard in the SWAC. The teams that are always there in the end. Sutton is one of those teams, and as well as Alcorn is one of those teams that's always there in the end. But this is a new SWAC. All the teams are playing well. It's very well coached across the board. So any given Saturday, it doesn't really matter who you're playing. All the teams are good teams. So every week is a big game, not just this week.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Currently taking questions for Coach Rollins with Southern University. Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, for our media, if you do have any questions for our coach, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. I do see we have Coach McKinney with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's it going?
Doing great, Coach. Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. If you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Alcorn State.
Yeah, tough loss this weekend to Alcorn State. We felt like we did some things that were unfortunate by giving up a block punt for a touchdown, fumble coming out, giving them a short field for some scores, and then just not protecting the ball overall. Young ball club, we moved the ball really well offensively, and we just got to finish those drives with some touchdowns. And I thought our defense held it down for 3 quarters, and then we couldn't get off the field in the 4th quarter, and I think that's what hurt us in the end.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll now open it for questions for Coach McKinney. First question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, how are you, sir?
Good. How's it going, James?
Good. Talk a little bit about Andrew, your quarterback, throwing the ball around and moving the chains for you.
Yeah, he's doing a tremendous job for us in that aspect. He's understanding what we're asking him to do a lot better. And, he gains more and more experience with each game, and he gets it becomes a much more improved quarterback. And he also has the ability to run around, keep plays alive with his running ability, and we're just looking forward to him growing into the position.
You get another opportunity this week. You'll see Pine Bluff. What's the thought process going into that contest?
Well, for us, it's about protecting Andrew and him taking care of the ball and the guys that he, puts the ball in their hands, those guys protecting the ball as well and making plays. Pine Bluff's a very opportunistic team defensively, and we got to make sure we take care of the ball. And offensively, the quarterback is the trigger man for them. He makes it go, and we just got to not give up the big plays.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach McKinney, how you doing this morning?
How's it going, Dr. Cavill?
I'm doing well. Team played really solid early, as you said. Just some mistakes are made throughout the game.
Mm-hmm.
However, your quarterback, Andrew, playing well, did not have an interception, did have the fumble. What do you work with as the quarterback as you try to seek to give him confidence, but at the same time, find ways to allow him to maturate as he goes on with the season?
We definitely want to allow him to just be himself and not put any constraints on him. But what he has to understand that there are times to make plays, and every play doesn't have to be a big play. And so that's where you find him with some of his turnover issues. There's been more fumbles than interceptions, and he's trying to make the big play on every play, and he just needs to settle down and let those plays happen.
Defense seems to have improved over the season. What are your thoughts in terms of their play at this point?
Yeah, we last week we really got healthy from the start of the season. Those guys we're playing a lot of guys defensively, and they've been playing really well. Playing a lot better than what we've played in the past, and we look forward to them improving in the future. But we definitely got to do a much better job defensively on third downs and getting off the field.
Your last game at home, Pine Bluff coming in. What are you looking at trying to get done against the Golden Lions this week?
We're just trying to get a win, and I know they're going to come in here looking to get a win in conference as well. But our goal is to go out, play a complete game. We haven't played a complete game of ball yet in all three phases. We need to go out and protect the ball and play a complete game and come away with this win.
One final question. How much of that do you attribute to having a young team? And is there anything that you can do to speed up the process, or do you just have to go through it?
Well, we're a young team, and there's some growing pains that comes with being a young team. But whether you're young or old, you gotta protect the ball. It doesn't matter, your experience level or not. And so we work on ball security every day. And guys just got to take the drill to the field and make sure that when we trust you with the ball, that you hand the ball to the official, and we're not.
Thank you, Coach McKinney. Good luck this weekend.
All right, thank you.
Next question goes to IC Morrell.
Coach McKinney, how you doing today?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, good. Thank you very much. So, I'm learning a lot about your quarterback, Andrew Body, and he's leading in the running back category. A lot of running backs that you guys use. Are you looking for maybe a dominant or feature running back that can maybe take some pressure off your quarterback?
We have a really talented group of running backs on our team, and each week it's been a different guy who stepped up, and so it doesn't matter to me who that guy is. But one of those guys in the room, a couple of those guys in the room each week have stepped up and answered the call as far as being the guy who toasts the mail. But it doesn't really matter to me which one of those guys it is. That they're all talented. We trust that they all can get the job done, and they're extremely efficient in pass protection as well.
Yeah. Taking it back a few months, do you like where this team is at this point in the game, after being limited in the springtime as far as the number of games that you could play?
I couldn't understand your question. You broke up there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask, are you I know you're 2-5, but other than that, are you satisfied with the effort that the team is giving, after being limited to what, 3 spring games?
2 spring games, but yeah, as far as effort goes, our guys play extremely hard from the opening kickoff to the final whistle, and I'm definitely satisfied with the effort that we've given. We're not satisfied with the outcome we've had in a few games. We feel like we've given some games away. Some games we've had some opportunities to maybe come out on top, but we attribute that to some growing pains. And as we gain experience, we feel like we're going to get better as a team.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Ty.
Hey, Coach McKinney. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How's it going, Tom?
I'm pretty good, Coach. You talked about the growing pains your team has had over the past few weeks and during the season. Can you talk to us about the optimistic side of the coin in terms of what Texas Southern is looking forward to in the future?
Well, some wins is the first thing we're looking forward to. But, you know, when I look out there and I see a true freshman quarterback throwing to a true freshman receiver and they're making big plays, and then you flip the coin to the defense, and we got one of our best guys in the secondary is a true freshman corner and a true freshman safety. And we got freshmen all across the board playing for us. And this season is just valuable to those guys from an experience standpoint. And so the more they play, the better that they get, the more they start to understand what's being asked of them, and the more that they'll start to understand what they see and trusting their eyes.
Hey, Coach, to make, I guess, a comparison, how quickly the things can flip-flop in the NFL. You've seen teams like Cincinnati come up so quickly. That does give you a lot of reason for optimism, I'm sure. Now, looking ahead to Arkansas Pine Bluff and looking at the tape, which is on TV right now, they were playing the game against Arkansas. They actually played really well in the second half. What have you seen about Arkansas Pine Bluff that impressed you the most?
Pine Bluff's a really good team. You know, they were ranked 1 or 2 in the country to start the season off, and those players haven't changed. They probably have hit a rough patch, but when you look at the film, I see a quality team, a team that's very much could have been leading our league right now, and so we have our work cut out for us.
And it may be early for this type of conversation, but, you know, we're getting near the latter part of the season, and this is a time of year when organizations like the Black College Football Hall of Fame start to look at individual honors for players and or coaches. And in terms of your team, if you could just pinpoint maybe 1 or 2 guys who may be up for consideration, who would those guys be that we should take a look at?
Well, I think our center, Nate Hines, does a tremendous job for us offensively. You had a chance to watch us play. He's the guy who gets everybody going in the right direction. And I think the sky's the limit for him. And we appreciate him. And then when you flip it over to our defense, there are a couple guys defensively that we depend on. Julian Marcantel being one, and Tyreek Cooper, our linebackers. They've done a tremendous job of getting our team lined up and making those plays when we need them to make them.
Coach, that's good to know. Thank you for the information, and we'll follow up with you on that.
All right, thank you.
Coach McKinney, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right, thanks for having us.
Thank you. All right, we now go to Jackson State. Happy to be joined by Coach Harrell. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. Thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about the team's most recent victory at home over Bethune-Cookman.
Hats off to Bethune-Cookman, Terry Simmons and the staff. They came in and they pretty much came in and jumped on us with 9-0, and it looked pretty good. It was well focused. They had some big plays, and we kind of had a slow start, and we got to figure that out offensively. How can we start fast with the type of defense that we're playing, special teams success that we're having? We got to start fast to give ourselves a chance to just to have more success early. But Bethune did a great job. It was a great game. We did turn it around by second quarter. Our goal is always to win each quarter. We lost the first quarter. We came and won the second quarter. We didn't have time to make some adjustments. And the guys came out with a different level, and we had some success. Of course, Crone with the 5 touchdowns, something like that he had. And Weidman been special outside. He's really turning the corner at receiver, number 13. Keith Corbin is solid every week. And with the passing game where it is, we want to now continue to work on our run game to be more balanced. Up front, we're making some things happen as far as injuries, but just trying to find our 5 core guys that we know can get it done. But overall, defensively, great job as far as, starting off with early and making some plays here and there. But second half, they really came out and made some big plays. The special teams, my hats off to our special team coordinator, Ricard. They did an outstanding job as far as just the momentum with the big kick returns and going down and cover. Special teams really was special against Bethune-Cookman.
Much for those comments, Coach. We'll now open up the floor for questions. Our first question goes to Charles Bishop.
How you doing, Coach?
How you doing?
I wanted to talk a little bit about Malachi Wyman and the connection that Shedeur Sanders is developing with him. They connected 4 times this past week, and Malachi, he's SWAC Offensive Player of the Week. But just talk a little bit about the connection that they've started to develop and how Malachi has really grown from the beginning of the season to now.
Well, Charles, Malachi, started off slow during the season. He's very raw. It took him a while to really get an understanding of the play calling, the concept, and where he fit as far as in the passing game. But, Coach Brown really set him down and pretty much ensured him the confidence that we have in him. And Shedeur is that type of quarterback. Once he believes in you, if he come to you, make a catch, he's going to keep coming to you. But if you come your way and you're kind of inconsistent, he's going to look other places as far as trying to have success in the passing game. But Malachi stepped up big time, even in the third down long situations. We got him with the double moves. But just his route running has improved. His catch rate is, the guy is a phenomenal basketball player. He jump out the gym. He has a long wingspan. So his catch rate is tremendous. But just his route running, now he's more confident. And he's even becoming a more threat now just in the short game with the hitches as far as catching the ball and almost making that one guy miss. So we're just trying to make him an all-around player. And we kind of just made him a player with a small package where he can focus. And I think that kind of has something to do with his success. So he's able to just concentrate on the plays that we know that we want to give him the ball. I think Coach T.C. Taylor did a great job as far as just targeting him and just trying to make sure we get the ball in his hands in the right situations.
Coach, defensively, you guys have been dominant without really getting a slew of turnovers. This past week, you were able to get some interceptions. Talk a little bit about that.
I think it started up front. I try to watch the game up front in the trenches, and James Houston, Aubrey Miller, and the rest of the crew. They do a good job as far as putting pressure on the quarterback. So you don't have very long to hold on to the football, and that helps the secondary out. And Coach Mathis does a great job as far as having his guys in position to make plays. And we kind of struggled with that early the past couple of weeks as far as guys not actually making the plays. But it was able to make the interceptions. I think Shallow made a tremendous play before the half that really, really got us going. I think we really needed that to send us into the half. No one was coming back out second half and it was going to get a first possession. But they do a great job in the secondary as far as disguising things and then, just being in position to make the plays, but they made the plays this week. But it starts up front. It starts up front as far as the tight pressure. We want that quarterback to feel very uncomfortable. We want him to understand that if you're holding the ball too long, you can get hit and just get the ball out. And we're going to sit on some routes, and sometimes we're going to go ahead and press and bail. But we do a good job as far as disguising and just keeping the quarterback guessing. But the secondary did a great job as far as making the plays. And once they made the interception, they did a great job as far as advancing the ball down the field.
Sure thing. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Charles.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach Harrell, I hope you and everybody at JSU are well. It's James Hill with BNC Sports. When you look at SWAC football rivalries, in this case, in the Magnolia State, the big three, Jackson State, Alcorn, and Valley, this week you'll face Valley. Can you just talk a little bit about the history there and the rivalry aspect of HBCU football in Mississippi?
Well, I'm kind of new to it, James. I'm learning myself as far as how it goes. But you hear about it all the time with Jackson State and Alcorn. I know the history goes deep. There's tremendous pride within the alumni base. The band that's involved, but the crowd. We pretty much anticipate that week. We know we'll probably have another large group, maybe 55, like homecoming. But we know there's tremendous pride. When those schools in this area, you can throw out the record and you see how Valley is playing against opponents in the past couple of weeks. I think maybe Alcorn might have been 12 points, but most of the games, the point spread been like 6, 3 points, 1 point. So they tell you what type of football they're playing at their place, even on the road to go down to Bethune-Cookman and get a win. But these three schools, that just the pride, just the bragging rights that comes with it, just driving around Jackson, being new in the area, you just hear the Alcorn, tremendous pride, the Valley. Folks are just waiting on those games to cheer for their team. So it's all about bragging rights. It's all about, as far as the tradition, going back to the days with Steve McNair, when he was playing, I heard about the 63,000 that was up in that stadium. So just trying to make sure we carry out a tradition and do our part and just go out and compete and make our fans, our alumni base and administration proud of us.
Coach, in closing, what's it been like for you personally to be a part of the JSU football organization and the program and the team, and you guys all believe?
It's a tremendous honor. Being someone that's been a part of HBCUs majority of my career, started at Howard University, moved around to Texas Southern for a little bit in the SWAC. I also worked at Alabama State in the SWAC, but majority of my time was over in the MEAC. But HBCU is HBCU, man. But being here is something different, something special. And I kind of knew that and heard about it coming into Jackson as far as what they bring, the things that they're able to do with their fan base. I think Ashley Robinson does a great job as far as letting the coaches coach and just building the program and the brand where it's today. But being here to see it and actually feel it, but then adding that prime effect, it just takes it over the top. It has that, we want to say that Power Five is feel to it. The guys, the kids, they enjoy what we do. We try to make sure we set them up for success. I think it's just an atmosphere that give the kids an opportunity to have success. And we want to do that on the academic side as well in the classroom. Our academic advisor, Malone Silver, does a great job as far as being engaged with the guys throughout the day. But it only just not just the football area, it's just everything that goes with the Jackson State. You feel it when you drive into the local establishment. Everyone loves Jackson State, and that's a tremendous thing on this level because win, lose, or draw. You have some fans that can waver back and forth, but Jackson State, they're with you all the way, and that's always a plus for us, especially going through the times we're going through. Just trying to keep these guys humble, stay on track, and win ball games.
Thank you, sir. Good luck going forward.
Thank you, James.
Last question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Harrell, how's it going this afternoon?
It's going very well, Doctor. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you for that. Wanted to ask you in terms of in sports, you hear consistency, routine. Obviously, it was the change that had to be made, medical reasons, obviously. What are the challenges of going through that process, and what are maybe some benefits that people don't really consider or we wouldn't consider?
Well, for us, like I said, with the change, the sudden change for us, luckily the foundation has been laid by Coach Prime, and you mentioned that word consistency, and we kind of hit on that also. And with the foundation and being consistent with our schedule, how we go about our core values, trying to be smart, fast, tough, disciplined. We hang our hats on those phrases and on those words. And when you say being consistent, as far as just staying the same at different times. And that's what we're kind of good at. Even though it's a different week, we want to remain the same as day one when we first reported to camp. We want to stay the same versus Alabama State when they would go out and just stay on schedule and do some great things on the football field. We want to stay the same as far as graduation rate, APR, and all those things academically. So just being consistent in what we do, the vision, the drive, the goal that Coach Prime put in, being able to step away and trust his staff that when he do step away, that everything stays the same and stays consistent. I think it helps him out as far as being able to relax and take his time as far as coming back into the fold. But we feel good about where we are right now. We have a great staff that's consistent. We have a great staff that's committed. And then when you got someone like a TC Taylor that's been a part of Jackson State for a long time, you lean on him to get some feedback, to get some insight. You got veteran guys like DC, Dennis Thurman, who's very solid on defense. Some of these guys have been around Coach Prime for a long time. You're talking about Coach Hart, Coach Mathis. So they know him. I know Coach Prime maybe 2 years, but I work with him on a daily basis when it comes to scheduling, when it comes to, how he sees things. So we know what he wants. We know when things are out of place, how he's going to react. So we try to make sure we come in day to day that we first start there to, how he wants things and make sure nothing gets changed, that we don't deviate from the plan, from the blueprint, and just follow our day-to-day grind. Just stay prayed up, stay faithful, stick together as a family, and understand the foundation is laid and we're having success, and just get the kids to believe, like you said, just believe in what we're doing and play hard.
Final question I have quickly is just what do you want to get done against Valley from a defensive perspective?
From a defense perspective, I think you're saying as far as our defense versus their
Yes,
offense?
I'm sorry, Jackson State's defense against their offense. Yes, sir.
Yes, I mean, our defense, I think we just got to stay, of course. I think we've been doing fine as far as, coming out and putting pressure on the quarterback. We want to hit the quarterback. I don't think we hit the quarterback enough last week. We want to hit him a little bit more, make them more uncomfortable. I think they had couple of big runs in the run game. Our goal is always to stop the run and make them one-dimensional. I think we do a good job as far as disguising, like I said early. But the guys, they come out and ready to play. Our defense, they understand where they need to be, their right fits in the run game. And like I said before, in the secondary, they understand what we're trying to do up front and know when to sit on the ball and know when to bail and press and be in position. But defensively, we want to come out, we want to go for a shutout. That's always our goal. Our defense is the heart and soul of this team. They've been there every week. Sometimes they bend but don't break, but we have some tough guys. We have some guys that love the game of football. We have some guys we believe can go to the next level. So we want to showcase that. We want to make sure we go out every week and give this program an opportunity to win. If you can't score, you can't win.
There you go. Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Coach Harrell, we really appreciate you stepping in today, and good luck to the Tigers this week.
Thank you. Keep us in your prayers.
Thank you.